Incredible billionaire discovers a single mom's heartbreaking plea. Please save my daughter. What happens next will stun you. Jess sat on the floor of their small living room, cradling an old blanket around her shoulders while Lily played quietly with her dolls. The faint sounds of cars honking and children laughing outside reminded her of a world that kept moving. But inside their apartment, the weight of unpaid bills pressed down like a heavy fog. As a devoted single mother, Jess juggled 2 jobs, always working, always worrying. Her heart ached with love for her spirited daughter, whose laughter filled the air with joy. But her mind swirled with fears of not providing the life Lily deserved. That evening something changed. Lily, usually a bundle of energy, looked pale and fragile. When Jess gently touched her forehead, a chill ran through her. Panic flooded her heart. "Mommy, I don't feel so good," Lily murmured, her bright eyes dimming. It was the sound of those words that ignited a fire within Jess. She was determined to find help, whatever it took. Days morphed into a blur of doctor appointments, tests, and uncertainty. When the diagnosis came, a rare disease requiring costly treatment, it felt as if the floor dropped from beneath her. Jess's heart raced with desperation. She sat alone in the living room, the echoes of Lily's laughter now haunting her. What was she going to do? Swallowing her pride, Jess turned to social media, pouring her heart into a post that laid bare their struggles. "I'm just a mom trying to save my child, please help us." The vulnerability in her words sparked something, lots of likes, shares, and a flood of comments. She felt hope swell within her, but fear clung to her thoughts. Was this the right choice? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the post went viral, it reached a billionaire tech mogul named Ethan, who lived in a shiny glass penthouse miles away. He sat at his desk, surrounded by wealth but feeling strangely hollow. Jess's heartfelt plea tugged at his soul. Drawn by an impulse he didn't fully understand, he reached out to her. Together they embarked on a complicated journey, with Jess giving everything to her daughter and Ethan grappling with the guilt of his privilege. But as the community rallied, challenges arose. Friends questioned Ethan's intentions. Whispers about motives filled the air. Jess felt torn. Could she trust this man who could change everything? Would accepting help erode her dignity? Just as she thought they were finding common ground, a gut-wrenching decision loomed on the horizon. In a moment of clarity, she realized they were on the brink of a reckoning, where the truth about herself and the world would collide. As the clock ticked relentlessly towards Lily's treatment, Jess stood at a crossroads, her heart pounding with uncertainty. Could she embrace the lifeline Ethan offered, or was the risk of betrayal too great? The answer hung in the balance, and as she took a deep breath, the world around her faded away, leaving only the thought of her daughter's health. Her spirit ignited. She knew one thing for certain: the fight was only just beginning. Jess sat on the edge of her bed, heart racing as she stared at her phone. Ethan's message blipped across the screen, but it felt like a lifeline and a noose at the same time. "I want to help," it said simply. Yet those 4 words carried the weight of 1,000 questions. Could she truly allow herself to accept help, especially from someone like him? Rich, powerful, and far from her reality. Outside, the sounds of children playing in the warm evening air drifted in, reminding her of happier times. In that moment, she glanced at Lily, sleeping peacefully among her dolls. Jess's heart swelled with love but was quickly clouded by uncertainty. What if she reached out to Ethan and it all went wrong? What if it all turned out to be a scheme that would hurt Lily instead of helping her? Taking a deep breath, Jess put down the phone and walked over to Lily's bed. She brushed a stray hair off her daughter's forehead, marveling at her fragile beauty. How could I possibly put her at risk? But the thought of Lily getting sicker, of her laughter fading into silence, was unbearable. A wave of determination crashed over Jess. She couldn't just stand by and wait. She had to act. That night, she typed furiously, crafting a response to Ethan that felt honest but guarded. "Thank you for reaching out. We need help, but it's hard for me to open up." In her heart, She knew the fight wasn't just for Lily's health. It was for the very trust that had been shattered time and again by life. As she pressed send, a flicker of hope emerged. Perhaps Ethan could be different. Maybe he could help bridge the gap between her broken world and the health Lily needed. Meanwhile, in his penthouse, Ethan stared at Jess's response. An unexpected warmth filled him. It had always been easy to write off people, to keep things transactional, but Jess had broken through his walls. He felt the urgency to step in and offer more than just resources. He wanted to connect. But each time he thought about making a move, his mind filled with second guesses. What if she found it patronizing? What if she turned him away? Ethan was no stranger to rejection, but the thought of not doing everything possible to help Lily felt crushing. He picked up his phone and dialed his assistant. "I need the best pediatric specialists available," he instructed. "And I want to arrange a meeting with Jess in person. We need to talk." Time became a blur as plans took shape. Jess found herself standing in front of the mirror the next morning, her heart pounding. Ethan was coming over. It felt surreal and overwhelming. Dressed in her best but fraying outfit, she practiced what to say, but her stomach twisted at the uncertainty. Was this meeting a step towards hope or an invitation to more heartbreak? When the doorbell rang, Jess froze. She took a deep breath, opened the door, and was met with Ethan's warm smile. "Thank you for inviting me in," he said, his voice calm yet tinged with excitement. As she led him inside, Jess struggled to balance her nervousness and hope. Little did she know this meeting was a turning point. Everything they had been through, the pain, the fears, was about to collide with a reality they never anticipated. As they sat down at the table, Jess felt a whirlpool of conflicting emotions, and the weight of unspoken words hung in the air, thick and tangible. What truths would come to light when doors were finally opened? As the conversation began, Jess braced herself for revelations that could change everything. But would those truths bring clarity or more chaos? Ethan settled into the chair across from Jess, the room feeling strangely intimate despite the enormity of the situation. He could sense her tension, the way her fingers fidgeted with the hem of her shirt. She was trying to appear calm, but the tremble in her voice gave her away. "Thank you for coming," she began, her words soft but deliberate. I really didn't know what to expect." His heart raced as he replied, "I just want to help, Jess. We can figure this out together." The candor in his tone surprised him, but this was different. This wasn't a business transaction. This was personal. Jess swallowed hard, her vulnerability mixing with skepticism. "You don't have to do this. I know you have your own life, your own problems." The thought of burdening him felt equally wrong and necessary. "I want to," Ethan said firmly, his gaze steady as he searched her eyes. "We can find the best specialists. Maybe even a trial study that could help Lily." At the mention of her daughter, Jess's entire expression shifted. Her resolve wavered as hope flickered. "But why? You barely know us. You don't owe us anything." Ethan leaned in, the gravity of her circumstances hitting him. "Because I can't ignore it. I've seen what happens when children don't get the help they need. I want to be someone who does something." Jess's eyes filled with unshed tears. There it was, that unguarded moment where her heart inched toward trust. But shadows loomed behind that hope. What if it doesn't work? What if I let you in? And Jess, Ethan interrupted gently, "Life is messy. But maybe together we can navigate through it." Silence wrapped around them, thick and heavy. Jess couldn't shake the weight of her past failures when it came to trusting others. But here was Ethan, offering not just resources but a hand, something she desperately needed. "Okay," she exhaled, heart pounding. "Let us look into the doctors you mentioned. At least we can explore our options." The admission hung like a fragile butterfly, beautiful yet delicate, ready to take flight or shatter into pieces. "Great," Ethan said, visibly relieved. "I'll set everything up. But we need to keep communicating, Jess. I can't help if you don't let me in." She nodded slowly. "I can try," she whispered, feeling the enormity of that statement. As they started discussing possible appointments, Jess began to feel a sense of agency. It wasn't just about her daughter anymore. It was about taking control of a situation that had spiraled beyond her grasp. Ethan's presence was steadily transforming fear into a flicker of hope. Yet, as they talked, a nagging unease crept into Jess's mind. Could she truly rely on him? Would his generosity come with strings attached? Hours passed, thoughts of the possibilities mixing with her lingering doubts, as the conversation transitioned from logistics to deeper emotions. Just as she began to feel the tentative beginnings of a bond, Ethan's phone buzzed on the table, breaking the spell of the moment. He glanced at the screen, a shadow passing over his features. "I have to take this," he said, looking conflicted. "But I promise I'll be back to finalize everything." As he stepped away, Jess felt a pang of uncertainty. The warmth they had built suddenly felt fragile. Would he return? What if this was all just a fleeting moment of connection that would dissolve into nothing? In her heart, she grappled with the questions now swirling through her mind. Was it too late to protect herself from the hurt that seemed to follow her every move? The faint laughter of children playing outside felt distant now, a painful reminder of what was at stake. When Ethan returned, he could see the change in her expression. "What is it?" he asked, concern etched on his brow. Jess sighed, clutching her hands together tightly. I didn't think it would hit me like this. "I need to know you're serious," she finally said, her voice steady but her heart racing. "I need to know this isn't a charity case for you." Ethan looked genuinely hurt by the doubt in her eyes. "I promise you, Jess, I'm all in." But just as Jess was about to respond, her phone pinged loudly on the table, drawing her attention. "Wait, what if?" she whispered, suddenly too afraid to be all in herself. The tone was heavy with unspoken words. Would she risk it all for hope, or would she turn away just as chance extended its hand? Ethan moved closer, concern shadowing his features as Jess glanced down at her phone, the low buzzing ringing louder than the uncertainty hanging in the air. She hesitated, her heart racing with a mix of dread and curiosity. What if this message changed everything? "Jess?" Ethan asked softly, coaxing her back into the moment. "What is it?" She swallowed hard, her throat tight. It's my mom." The words tumbled out as her thumb hovered over the screen, ready to reveal whatever awaited. "She is sick again." Ethan's expression shifted to one of empathy, understanding the weight of her words. "I'm sorry," he said gently, placing a comforting hand on hers. It was a small gesture, but the warmth of his touch sent a jolt through her. She could feel the pulse of connection they had begun to build, and yet it was overshadowed by her looming fears. "I should probably go see her," Jess said, her voice trembling. "I need to be there for her, Ethan." "I understand," he said, reluctantly withdrawing his hand. "Family comes first." But the worry in his eyes revealed everything they hadn't yet discussed. The conversation about her daughter, their new plan, all of it felt fragile now. "How much time do you think you'll need to figure things out?" he asked, cautious. "I don't know," she admitted, pain lacing her voice. "I don't want to burden you. I mean, you've already been so helpful. But I can't forget my mom or my worries about Lily. It's a lot." Ethan nodded, his expression unwavering. "I didn't step in to put pressure on you. I'm here to help. Whenever you're ready to dive deeper into looking for options for Lily, I'll be waiting." His words brought a flicker of hope, but also the heavy weight of choice. Could she still let herself trust him even as family emergencies pulled her in another direction? Jess felt the flicker of something she hadn't felt in years' partnership. But the moment felt foggy, as if a veil hung between them, separating what could be from what was. "Maybe I shouldn't have called you here tonight," she said, biting her lip. "It's just something about all this makes me want to run. To protect myself." "You don't need to protect yourself from me," Ethan replied carefully. "I want to be part of this, all of this. But you also need to do what feels right for you." In that moment, Jess realized he was offering her something she thought lost. A genuine connection, despite the chaos surrounding them. Still, the lingering doubt clouded her thoughts. How could she risk the beauty of that connection when her life felt so unpredictable? Just then her phone buzzed again. It was a text from her mother. Jess's heart sank as she opened it. Just a simple, "I love you, Jess. I'm here." Tears welled in her eyes as she looked up, meeting Ethan's gaze. His expression was expectant, full of concern. "What does she say?" he asked softly. She paused, those 3 words heavy with meaning, and Jess felt the weight of her mother's love. "She is still holding on," Jess finally said, voice trembling. "But every time I get that text I feel the urgency. The clock is ticking for her too." Suddenly Jess's fears took on a raw, tangible form. She swallowed hard, feeling trapped between the bonds of loyalty to her family and the flicker of hope for her daughter's future. Ethan, she started, the weight of her choice pressing down on her. What if I can't do both? What if I have to choose? Ethan's eyes held steady, reflecting the burden she bore. You don't have to choose alone, he replied, his voice steady. I'll be here when you're ready to move forward in whatever direction that may be. But Jess felt the churning in her gut, the uncertainty of the roads ahead. Did she have the strength to face both crises? As the silence stretched, anxiety swirled in the room, wrapping around them. The decision beckoned like an uncharted path, and Jess knew she was teetering on an edge, one that could either lead to freedom or heartache. In that charged moment, Jess realized all too painfully that hope comes not just with risk, but with the inevitable weight of choice. She took a deep breath, searching for her voice, but it caught in her throat. What if the most significant choice lay right in front of her now? Would she embrace the possibility, facing both fear and hope, or retreat back into her shell once again? The air felt thick as she opened her mouth to speak, but the words hung heavy on her lips. Would she step forward or take a step back? In a world of uncertainty, all she could grasp was the fact that either choice would change everything. Jess felt the weight of the moment seep into her bones. The decision seemed insurmountable, towering like a mountain she had to scale without a clear path. Her eyes darted toward Ethan, hoping for some kind of sign, anything that might guide her as uncertainty churned inside her. The room felt smaller, the walls closing in around her. Echoes of all her fears swirled in her mind like a storm. What if I lose my mom? She whispered, the words escaping like a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Ethan's gaze was steady, unwavering. You won't lose her, he assured her, though she saw the shadows of worry flicker briefly across his face. You'll fight for her. That's what we do for family. And your future with Lily depends on a fight too. His words were a reminder of the duality she faced. It was not so simple. Her heart was split between two women she loved fiercely. I don't even know what the next step is, she admitted, feeling vulnerable and raw. How do I balance all of this? He moved closer again, this time searching her face as if she were a puzzle he longed to understand. You have to trust your instincts, Jess. You know deep down what you want for both of them. You're stronger than you think. His words held a strange power. She wanted to believe him. Somewhere inside, buried beneath the fear, a flicker of strength ignited. What if the answer is to question everything? She said suddenly. What if I can't stay silent anymore, Ethan? I can't go on pretending everything will work itself out. I have to choose, but the fear of being wrong, it paralyzes me. Ethan nodded, absorbing her turmoil. Then don't choose blindly. Talk to your mom. Share with her what's going on. She needs to know you're fighting for her, and that you're also fighting for Lily. You'd be surprised how clarity comes from honesty. Jess felt drawn to his perspective, and she could almost hear the gears in her brain turning. The thought of confronting her mom felt daunting but necessary. You're saying I should lay everything out on the table, yes? He encouraged. It's the only way to act from a place of courage. You can't carry this alone. You have to allow her to be part of it. But a doubt sprouted within her. What if my mom doesn't understand? What if she only worries more? We worry because we care. Telling her what you're feeling might open a door for both of you to share that worry. But also your love could bring you closer. As his words sunk in, Jess felt a little weight lift from her shoulders. Maybe Ethan was right. Maybe her mother's response would not only be understanding, but an opportunity for healing. What if I mess it up? Jess asked quietly, a sense of desperation creeping into her voice. Ethan stepped back slightly but kept his eyes on hers. You can't control every outcome, Jess. But you control your actions. Just be honest and it will be enough. A flicker of hope ignited inside her, and with it, a renewed sense of purpose. Okay, I'll do it. I'll talk to her. Good, he said, relief flooding his expression. They both stood there for a moment, the silence no longer heavy but filled with possibilities. Jess could almost see the winding road stretching before her, the path clearing little by little. But then, as the realization of her decision settled, another thought entered her mind. What if talking to my mom brings up feelings I haven't prepared for? What if the truth changes everything between us in ways I'm not ready for? Ethan paused, his brow furrowing slightly as her worry rendered him contemplative. Then you deal with those feelings when they come. Just don't let fear dictate what you say or do. Let love steer the ship. You're stronger than this moment, Jess. She nodded, but beyond her resolve, the uncertainty still lingered. A reminder that every choice detonated a ripple effect, each leading to yet more decisions needing to be made. How do I move forward from here? She murmured, as if feeling around in the dark for answers. Ethan met her gaze. Talk to her. Then we can tackle Lily together, whatever comes next. Feeling both daunted and relieved, Jess took a deep breath. Okay, it's time to face this head on. As she met Ethan's eyes, she felt the swell of determination rise. But along with it, the nagging fear, what if her mom's condition was more grave than she thought? Her phone buzzed again, but this time it was different. A new message. Jess's breath caught in her throat as she stared at the screen, her heart thundering in her chest. Could this be the moment that changed everything? Jess's heart pounded as she tapped the screen. The message was from her mom, simple yet powerful. We need to talk. Can you come over? It felt like an earthquake rumbling beneath her. A hint that the ground might shift at any moment. Jess? Ethan's voice pulled her back to the moment. She looked up, her eyes wide with uncertainty. What did she say? Swallowing hard, Jess showed him the message. She wants to talk now. Maybe this is good, Ethan said, trying to muster optimism. You can't put it off forever. No, but I wasn't ready. Jess felt the walls closing in again, panic rising. What if she's not ready either? What if she pushes me away? Then you push back. There was a fierce intensity in his eyes. Just get over there. Open that door. See what happens. As Jess scrambled to gather her things, her phone buzzed again. Another message from her mom. I'll be waiting. It felt heavy, like a weight pinning her chest. She couldn't tell if it promised openness or confrontation. Are you okay? Ethan studied her closely. I need to do this, she whispered, more to herself than to him. She felt as if she were standing on the precipice of something monumental. The drive to her mom's house felt like an eternity. Each passing moment was filled with her racing thoughts, doubts swirling with memories, her mother's laughter, their shared secrets, the way her mom had been there when the world felt too heavy. But then came the moments overshadowed by illness, by the slow creeping shadow of what was to come. What had they lost? How could she possibly bridge that distance now? When she finally pulled into the driveway, her hands trembled on the wheel. What was she meant to say? With a determined breath, Jess stepped out, heart in her throat as she approached the door. She knocked softly, the sound echoing in her ears like the tick of a clock. Moments seemed to stretch, each second a life lived. Her mom answered, and for a heartbeat, they just stood there. Eyes locked, an entire world between them. A history that threaded them together yet felt so frayed. Hey, honey, her mom's voice was softer than Jess remembered, laced with a vulnerability that caught her off guard. Hey, the word felt inadequate, a flimsy bridge between them. Can I come in? Jess said, her voice trembling just a bit. I need to talk. Of course. Her mom stepped aside, the invitation carrying the weight of both hope and fear. Inside, the silence was thick, filled with unsaid words and emotions ready to spill over. Jess felt her stomach churn as she glanced around the familiar yet distant living room. It was like stepping back in time, yet everything felt altered. I've been thinking, her mom began, her voice wavering. Jess cut in, her heart racing. Mom, I have to be honest about something. About me and Lily. I'm scared. The words tumbled out, frantic and desperate. I can't choose between you both. You deserve to know what's going on with me. Her mom's brow furrowed, surprise flashing across her face. What do you mean? Lily's really important to me, but so are you. I can't keep pretending like I know what to do. I need your support, and I'm terrified that I might lose you. The room felt electric, the air charged with tension. Jess watched as her mother processed her confession, mouth moving but words remaining locked within. Before she could finish, her mom's phone buzzed from the kitchen, cutting through the moment. It was a familiar sound, one that Jess knew well. Let me just check that, her mom said, moving toward the sound, tension shifting again like a fresh breeze. Jess's hands clenched at her sides. She desperately hoped this wasn't a distraction that would take them away from what really mattered. But the moment hung, teetering on the edge, as her mom picked up her phone and read. Jess could see her mother's face tighten, fear dawning in her eyes. Mom, what is it? Jess asked, feeling the pulse of anxiety rise anew. Her mom turned back, a shadow crossing her face. It's about your treatment, and there it was, the curveball she wasn't ready for. It felt like the ground beneath her shifted once more, her heart racing 1,000 beats. Mom, Jess stepped forward, dread gripping her heart. But her mom's expression shifted from fear to something more visceral. We're going to have to talk about everything, and we need to do it now. Jess's heart sank, but that flicker of hope ignited again. Could this be the moment that opened the floodgates of everything they'd been holding back? As they both took a seat, Jess felt an overwhelming urgency pulse through her veins. What are you trying to tell me? The words hung in the air, heavy but hopeful, tethered to the world of everything she feared and dreamed of in that moment. What was her mom about to reveal? Jess held her breath, waiting for her mother's words to break the silence that felt suffocating. Her mom seemed to gather herself, the weight of the moment clear in her furrowed brow and slightly trembling hands. Jess, she began, her voice steadier now, I didn't want to tell you this over text. It's about the treatment options we discussed. The doctors have given us some updates. An icy shiver raced down Jess's spine. She sensed the gravity behind each word, the way they threatened to unravel the tenuous connection they were just starting to build. What updates? Her mother's eyes glistened, and for a moment, Jess saw a flicker of vulnerability that paralleled her own fear. They're saying that we need to try experimental treatment, and it's aggressive. The words hit Jess like a punch to the gut. Aggressive? What does that mean? Every fiber of her being wanted to deny the implications. She couldn't handle the thought of losing her mom in the middle of everything else she was grappling with. It means there are risks, side effects, it's not a guarantee. Her mom's voice broke slightly, but she held steady. And I had to decide quickly. Time is running out, and I need you to know everything. Jess's pulse quickened as panic swelled. Mom! We can't, Jess, her mother interrupted, the urgency in her tone cutting through Jess's rising hysteria. I need you to understand. If I don't try this, I could lose everything. I could lose you. The room silenced again, the weight of her mom's words seeping into the walls. For the first time, Jess felt a flicker of panic mixed with the heartache. But what if it doesn't work? I can't, listen to me. Her mother's voice rose, a fierce desperation woven through it. I don't want to go anywhere without having fought for you. I want to be there for you as you build your future, Jess. I want to see you happy, to be a part of your life. But I can't do it without taking this risk. Tears brimmed in Jess's eyes, blurring her vision. It's not fair. Why do we have to go through this? Life isn't fair, her mother replied, her voice low but steady. But we can face this together. I won't let it define us as long as we try. The truth in her mother's words hit hard, and Jess felt a surge of both defiance and determination. She squeezed her mom's hands, anchoring herself in this shared moment. Okay, we'll face this together. There was a pause, then her mom nodded, a hint of relief mixed with their sorrow. But there's something else. Jess felt her heart drop again. What now? Her mom hesitated, the hesitation stretching painfully. I don't want to hide anything from you anymore. It's time you know about Lily. A knot formed in Jess's stomach. This was the moment she feared. The collision between her two worlds that had seemed so distant. What about her? Things are more intertwined than you think. I've known who she is and what she means to you longer than you realize. And if things change with this treatment, I want you to promise me something. The room felt smaller, pulsing with anticipation. Jess could sense the gravity weighing down on them both. What do you want me to promise? I want you to promise you won't let my choice pull you away from her. I want you to keep loving her no matter what. For a second, Jess was lost in her mother's request. It felt monumental, the implications swirling in her mind like a storm. But Mom, how can I do that? I don't want to lose you, and you won't lose me, Jess. Her mom's voice dropped, fierce and protective. No matter what happens, I'll always be with you. You deserve love, even if that means embracing uncertainty. Tears streamed down Jess's cheeks then, emotion surging through her. She wanted to fight back, to hold on to the familiar dread. But here was her mother, standing bravely on the edge of fear. I don't know how to balance this with you and Lily. You don't have to have all the answers right now. Just promise me that you'll be true to yourself. Your happiness matters. The moment stretched, feelings swirling more potent than any wind could sweep away. Finally, Jess nodded, though uncertainty gnawed at her heart. Promise. But as her mom squeezed her hand, Jess couldn't shake the feeling that this was merely the beginning. The path ahead was shadowed in turmoil, and somewhere deep inside her, she knew this conversation would change everything. The door creaked open, and the world outside felt impossibly distant. What else lurked in the shadows waiting for them both to face it? Jess took a steadying breath, ready but terrified as she whispered, "What's next, Mom?" Her mother took a deep breath, the kind that seemed to pull in every ounce of strength she had left. "After we finish here, we'll be meeting with the doctor again. They want to discuss the timeline for this treatment. From what I understand, it all starts next week." Jess's heart sank. Next week? That's too soon. We need more time. I need more time to process. But her mom nodded, her expression resolute. "I get that it's overwhelming. It is for me too, Jess. But we don't have the luxury of time. I've waited long enough, and I want you by my side as we do this." The acknowledgement made Jess feel small, the whirlwind of her own feelings crashing against the impending reality of her mother's situation. "What if something goes wrong?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. Her mom's eyes searched hers for understanding, but Jess could only see shadows of worry lurking just beneath the surface. Risks are part of life. We've learned that lesson the hard way. As those words hung between them, a wave of bitterness crashed over Jess. "And what about Lily?" Her mom looked away momentarily, taking time to reflect. "You're going to have to figure that part out on your own, sweetheart. I can't tell you what to do, especially when it comes to something that's so personal for you." Jess felt frustration bubble inside her. Lily meant so much to her, but now everything felt tangled beyond repair. "It's just if I'm focused on you and the treatment, how can I be there for her? I can't be in two places at once." Her mother reached out, rubbing Jess's arm like she used to when she was a child, trying to soothe her fears. "You've been juggling so much already. You can do this too, Jess. Life is about balance, and we've always found our way through chaos. Don't give up on that now." A deep breath escaped Jess's lips. She wanted so much to believe that everything would turn out okay, but self-doubt clung like a shadow. "I'm scared, Mom. What if I can't handle it?" "Fear is natural, it means you care. But I need you to stay strong for the both of us." She paused, her voice barely louder than a whisper. "You will be my light when things get dark." A lump formed in Jess's throat. The thought of being her mother's light in the dark felt like a heavy mantle, too much for her weary shoulders. "I don't know if I'm strong enough for that." "You are," her mother insisted, so firm that Jess almost could believe it. "I've seen you grow through so much. You're everything to me, Jess. You have that fire inside you." Amid the warmth of her mother's words, a flicker of resilience ignited in Jess. She wanted to rise above the fear that had pinned her down. Perhaps this would be a test of everything she'd ever known about herself, about love, choice, and the fragile nature of life. "Okay," Jess said, feeling the strengthen the resolve coming from within. "I'll be there for you. But I still need to talk to Lily. She deserves to know what's happening. I can't just shut her out." Her mother smiled softly, the kind of smile that made Jess realize just how much her mom believed in her. "You're right. Maybe opening up will help both of you to navigate what's ahead. Keep that connection strong." Jess nodded, her stomach still churning with uncertainty, but her heart felt lighter. "I'll do it. Promise. No matter what, I won't lose her." They sat together for a moment, an understanding bridging the gap between their fears and hopes. The warmth shared between them carried the promise of resilience, of facing uncertainty with eyes wide open. But as Jess glanced back toward the door, she felt another wave of unease. What would Lily say? What if she didn't understand? The upcoming conversation loomed ahead, daunting and precarious. "I hope she can," Jess murmured. More to herself than anyone else, her mother looked at her, the fire of shared determination reflecting in her eyes. "Just speak from your heart. It's all you can do." As they rose together, Jess felt the weight of the world still pressing down, but somehow it felt lighter with hope intertwined. She couldn't predict her future. Life was too unpredictable. But for the first time she felt a sense of conviction growing deep inside her. What would she learn about love and loss in the days to come? With every step forward, Jess could only wonder how far her heart would take her. Would Lily still love her knowing everything? Would her mom's bravery inspire her to embrace the chaos ahead? Let us go, she whispered to her mom, the grip of her hand firm against her own. The next chapter waited just around the corner, and she was ready to face it. The walk to Lily's house felt like an eternity. Jess could barely focus on the sidewalk beneath her feet, her thoughts spiraling with possibilities of what might happen next. The sun hung low in the sky, casting sharp shadows that danced along the pavement. Each step echoed in her chest, reminding her of the gravity of the conversation ahead. What do I even say? She muttered to herself, biting the inside of her cheek. It seemed silly to rehearse the dialogue in her mind when the truth was it might all fade away once she saw Lily's familiar face. Just be honest, her mother's voice pressed gently in her memory. You've always done well with honesty. Jess took a deep breath as they reached the front porch. The wooden stairs creaked slightly underfoot, amplifying the weight of her nerves. She raised her hand to knock but hesitated. What if Lily didn't understand? What if she refused to accept what was happening, pushed her away instead? Jess? Her mother's voice was calm, a steady anchor in the storm of her thoughts. You can do this. Just remember how much you care about each other. That has to be enough. The reassurance calmed her jitters just a little. Jess closed her eyes for a brief moment, imagining Lily's welcoming smile, the jokes they made, the secrets shared. That connection meant everything, and she refused to let it slip away. With renewed determination, Jess rapped her knuckles against the door. Almost instantly, the sound of footsteps grew closer. Her heart raced as the door swung open, revealing Lily, her dark curls bouncing as she leaned with a puzzled expression. Jess, what's up? Lily's casual demeanor sent a wave of relief over Jess. Hey, she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. Can I come in? Lily nodded, her brow furrowing slightly in concern as she stepped back to let them in. Jess followed her into the living room, the familiar scent of vanilla and fresh laundry wrapping around them like a warm blanket. Lily's little brother was drawing at the kitchen table, his crayons scattered like confetti. Mom! Lily called, glancing over her shoulder. Jess is here. Just a minute, came the reply from the kitchen. Jess took a seat on the couch, trying to gather her thoughts. It felt more difficult than she'd imagined. Lily flopped down beside her, crossing her legs. So what's going on? You look kind of serious. Taking a shaky breath, Jess looked down at her hands. I need to talk to you about something important. Okay, Lily replied, leaning in slightly. Is everything all right? You know you can tell me anything, right? Jess clenched her jaw to suppress the swell of emotion bubbling up. It's about my mom, she started, the words catching in her throat. Before she could continue, the sound of their mother stepping in brought a moment of comfort. What's going on, ladies? Jess, you seem a bit on edge. Mom, Jess said with certainty, I think I want you to be here for this. Lily's eyes darted between them, concern deepening. Fine, her mom replied, taking a seat across from them. What do you need, Jess? It was now or never. Jess took a deep breath, steadied by the presence of her mother, determined to lay everything bare and hope for understanding. My mom is sick, and she's going to start treatment next week. The words hung in the air, heavy and tangible. Lily's expression shifted from confusion to shock, and that warmth Jess always found in her friend's eyes dimmed for a moment. What? Lily breathed, her voice small, as if she couldn't quite comprehend the weight of it. I didn't know how to tell you, Jess continued, her voice barely above a whisper. But I need you to know because you're important to me, and I can't keep you out of this. I'm scared and I don't want to lose either of you. Lily's shock slowly melted into compassion, a reflection of the raw emotions they both shared. I am so sorry, Jess, she murmured, reaching for her friend's hand. I didn't know. As they shared a moment of silence filled with vulnerability, Jess felt the burden of her fears begin to lift, replaced with the warmth of Lily's understanding. But deep inside, one question loomed larger than the rest. How would this change their friendship moving forward? Just then a slight frown crossed Lily's face. Wait, how does treatment affect us? Do you need me to help you with things? What can I do? Now the uncertain future hung before Jess like an unwritten page, filled with questions and raw emotions that awaited an answer. What would it mean for her mom, for their friendship? As the weight of it all settled in, Jess knew the next step wouldn't be easy. But they'd face it together, whatever together looked like now. Just stay close, Jess whispered, her heart aching with uncharted territory ahead. What lay beyond their conversation felt bigger than their fears combined, setting the stage for a journey that neither of them ever expected. Jess stood in the living room, her heart pounding, surrounded by the warmth and chaotic energy of Lily's home. The comforting sounds of crayons drawing on paper filled the air, blending perfectly with the whispers of an unfinished conversation about the uncertainty ahead. It was surreal to have finally pieced together her mom's struggles with her own, to confront the truth she had feared but also needed to share. Lily squeezed her hand tightly, eyes wide with concern, as Jess took a deep breath and met her friend's gaze. I didn't tell you everything because I wanted to protect you. But I realize now that we can't be afraid of what might happen, and we can't face this alone. Together, right? Lily nodded, her resolve simmering beneath the surface. You can tell me anything, Jess. I don't mind being part of this. Jess smiled through the tears forming in her eyes. Lily's care was a golden light piercing through the storm of uncertainty swirling inside her. It's just Jess hesitated, words tumbling like stones in her mouth. My mom may need me a lot more than I can handle. I want to be there for her, but I also want to hold on to you too. This is all so tangled. Lily tilted her head thoughtfully. We all have to figure out how to take care of each other, right? You can lean on me. You know that. The sincerity in Lily's voice tugged at Jess's heart, bringing relief that felt heavy yet liberating. I don't want to lose you or my mom, but I need to be truly there for both of you, and I'm scared I won't be enough. Lily smirked gently. You are more than enough, Jess. That's what you've got to believe. You and your mom are fighters. You can take this on together. Tears brimmed in Jess's eyes, not from sadness, but from a mix of fear and love. Thank you, Lily. You have no idea how much that means to me. Their hands intertwined, forming an unbreakable bond, a promise to not let fear eclipse their friendship. Just then Jess's mom walked in, her presence sparking a feeling of calm. Hey, I hope I'm not interrupting anything important, she said playfully, sensing the gravity of the room. No, Mom. We were just talking about everything, Jess said, the sudden wave of emotion fueling her strength. Her mom's frail health felt imposing, but the connection they had forged made it seem less daunting. Lily's been so supportive. I wanted to make sure we all understood what we were facing. Her mom's eyes softened. That's brave of you, Jess. Leaning on each other is what this is all about. And I'm so proud of both of you. Then, as if a dam broke, conversations flowed freely around the kitchen table. They laughed about memories, shared fears, and formed a pact to conquer each challenge head-on, with honesty paint splashing every word. With each passing moment, Jess felt a spark ignite within her, a commitment to forge ahead, despite the uncertainty looming ahead. Days turned into a routine of doctor appointments, Lily's endless support, her mother's unwavering encouragement, and moments of laughter that punctuated the fear. Jess began to understand that love wasn't just a passive feeling but a series of choices made every day to show up for each other. One afternoon, as she sat with Lily in the living room, Jess shared the latest update regarding her mom's treatment. They say it's aggressive, but it's a step towards hope, she said, determination sizzling in her voice. Lily nodded enthusiastically. That's great. You've got this, Jess. You really do. And in that moment, Jess felt an overwhelming wave of gratitude wash over her. She realized that she wasn't alone in this fight. Later that week, when her mom watched Lily play among a sea of toys while sipping tea, Jess felt lightness in her heart. Somehow, fate had pushed them towards a space where hope thrived amidst vulnerability. Mom, Jess said, taking a deep breath, I think we're going to be okay. Together. Her mom smiled, a radiant, healthy glow in her eyes. Always together, Jess. With each step forward, they began to carve out a new path filled with love, community, and sacred connections to confront their fears and embrace the chaos together. As the sun set, casting hues of orange and purple through the window, Jess felt a wave of peace. They would face whatever challenge lay ahead. Hand in hand at in that moment, she understood. They were all warriors in their own right, capable of extraordinary love that could mend hearts, stitch together families, and bring light to every shadow lurking in life's unpredictable corners. Now, as you've reached the end of this inspiring journey, here's what you need to do. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep empowering heartfelt narratives. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your voice means everything to us. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.